louder, Suki says. A little louder. We're trying. We don't want to get feedback. Okay. Hi. Thank you so much, everybody. Good evening. Gather around. Come join me. Thank you so much for being here. I see we still have a few people rolling in. I couldn't be more grateful for all of you being here today. We're getting a little feedback still. Okay. I got really overwhelmed earlier today when I was writing my speech because I'm 5 years out from my diagnosis. So it's, thank you. It's not something that I think about every day anymore. So to write this speech and be reminded of it, it was a very emotional process, and but it's why we're all here today. So I wrote a little speech, and I'm gonna probably have to read it because it has a lot of stuff I want you guys to know. So many of you already know my story, but I'm gonna share a little bit with you because it's why we're all here tonight. So I was diagnosed with an aggressive form of breast cancer 5 years ago, but by a stroke of luck, I found it myself. I found it really early, and I have a great prognosis, and I'm really lucky. But I'm also really lucky because I had a friend who's an oncologist, and he mentioned that I should get genetic testing. It was not something that my doctor told me I needed to get. So I was just gonna proceed with a lumpectomy, and that was what was gonna happen. If I hadn't had this friend, that's what would have happened. So my goal with what we're doing here today is we are being that friend for everybody else, because it's still today is the thing. You would not get told that you need genetic testing when you have a cancer diagnosis, am I right? Yeah. So that saved my life. That friend saved my life, and so I am so lucky. So I'm paying it forward, and you are all here doing that with me today. So this experience, it sparked a passion between my husband and I, and that passion was for researching genetics. And what we learned is that what formerly had been a very expensive test was no longer expensive. What had formerly been only able to be done in a lab with blood was now able to be done at home with saliva. So these are incredible breakthroughs. And our healthcare system, their policies have not caught up to the current technology. So what we realized we needed to do was to throw an event, because this is an incredible opportunity for changing the healthcare system. So that's our goal, and I couldn't be more fortunate to have Sutter along for the ride. As soon as I brought this to their attention, they were like, hell yes, let's do this. And as you could see them showing up with their whole genetics team today, they're full force. So I'm totally off script now. Okay. So 3 years ago today, not today, but 3 years ago, we started this mission. We started something called Gin and Genes. We're now calling it Know Your Genes, because that actually makes a lot more sense. That's what we're doing here today. We're giving everybody the tools to be able to know their genetics, which wasn't formerly available. So your doctor would still today probably tell you you don't need to know this, but guess what? You do if you want to live a long time. Maybe not everybody needs to know this, but a decent percentage does. So this is valuable. Okay. And even though we don't call it we're calling it Know Your Genes, of course we still will always have gin. Okay. So, so this is truly amazing, and I noticed a lot of you I was talking to didn't know, so I want to make sure everybody knows that we have an extremely generous anonymous donor that is matching every donation up to $250,000 today. So I don't know, we're probably not going to get to that. We're probably not going to break through that today, but you never know. we have a match probably for everything we're going to raise today. And so I'm just unbelievably grateful because this person realized how life-saving this information is. And so please take advantage of the resource, and please go see Sharon and her team. They're in the back over there with those really cool signs, and you can take a test home today, which is really cool. And then because of that match, if you buy a test and take it home today for yourself, you will then get matched. That will be a test for a family that couldn't have afforded a test. So that is really amazing. Okay, so that first year, we raised enough money to dream. What would we do? How would we do it? And Sharon and her team created something called the GREAT program. It stands for Genetic Risk Evaluation and Testing. And we actually have one of the first person to ever attend this event that was a part of the program. And her story, it's my story, except that she has the knowledge, which is the power that she needs to be able to prevent cancer. So let's give it up for Marina. Thank you so much, Marina, for being here.
Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Great. Yeah, I am really grateful for this program. I'm also going to read a script. I participated in the program earlier this year. I was particularly interested in genetic testing. My mom had her breast cancer diagnosis a few years ago. She was 63. It was the first breast cancer diagnosis in our family. Kind of a similar story. We weren't really encouraged to do genetic testing. They said it likely wasn't genetic and it was more environmental. So it was kind of this mystery. But with this program, I was able to get testing. And I think the biggest thing for me was finding out that it was genetic. I tested positive for the ATM gene mutation, which is associated with increased risk of breast cancer. When I had talked to my doctor about my mom's diagnosis before I had done this test, they didn't encourage me to do genetic testing. I had asked about would my screening for breast cancer be any different? They said, no, there's no additional risk for you. You'll start at 40. So when I fast forward and did the test this year, my genetic counselor with my test diagnosis, she recommended I start screening at 30, which I turned 30 this year. So I feel like the biggest thing for me was now I have 10 additional years of screening, which is super important. The gene that I tested positive for is also, there's a risk for children if both parents carry this gene. With my test results from this program, I was able to help my partner get genetic testing. So now that's more knowledge for us and our family. And then beyond just myself, I've been able to share this with my extended family, my cousins. My mom is one of 6 sisters. This has impacted not just me, but like a whole generation, multiple generations of people. So I couldn't be more thankful for this program and to the donors who make it possible. So deep gratitude, thank you all, and thanks for putting on this event.
Thank you. Isn't she amazing? The bravery it takes to come up and share your story, Marina. Thank you so much. So before we continue, I just really want to thank all of our amazing donors, like Arno Roberts, for hosting us here today. Thank you so much, you guys. Also, we have some wonderful friends that have sponsored the event today, like Invitae. They are a genetics testing company. That's the test that is provided through this great program, and I have been recommending them since I started recommending testing. That's also who did my test. They're great. Okay, closer to my mouth. Okay. Also, so Invitae, Ariel Kelly, thank you so much. Kelsey Phelps of Seppi Sparkling Wine, thank you so much. Brie Calor, thank you so much. Your bubbles are delicious, thank you. Pade, Vavra, where's Pade? Thank you, darling. Those beautiful earrings. And Gina's Boutique. Oh my gosh, so many more, you guys. The silent auction is not to be missed, and I think we only have 30 more minutes of it. So after I'm done here, just buzz over there. But okay, but I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. We couldn't do this without this collective group. Okay, so are you ready for the first numbers that have ever come out of this? This is year 3. We've been fundraising for a long time, and we now finally have started testing at the beginning of 2023. And so we have some actual numbers, some results. It's been really interesting to see that we sent out a letter to Sutter patients between the ages of 25 and 45. They also got an email. And simple QR code, sign up, you get a test in the mail. We're still figuring this out a little bit. So you were supposed to do the test yourself at home and send it in. So our program does not pay for any tests until they get sent in. So that's great. So I breathed a big sigh when I heard that because, well, 697 enrolled and only 219 turned them in. So what I've noticed also with my own personal friends over the 5 years, it's kind of hard to get people to take the test. It's sort of one of those things that you're like, la, 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 do I really want to know? But you do really want to know. So we're here to encourage why you want to know. It's just like Marina said, she's going to have 10 additional years of screening. When you find cancer early, you survive. When you don't, it's much harder. So it's still a little hard. Sometimes if you can totally prevent it, that's great. Okay, so of the 219, it doesn't sound like a big number, but we got 12 positives. And what that is it's almost 6% positive, which is much larger than the national statistic. Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it's higher than the national average, and it's because we're testing a larger demographic, I think. We're testing men. So historically, genetic testing, I think, has been pigeonholed, and Sharon, you can come take the mic from me whenever you think I'm wrong, but into more of something for women, for breast cancer. It's been pigeonholed as the breast cancer gene, but this helps men too. So it's not just for women, also men can pass it on to their female children without having any breast or ovarian history to know about. So it is a test for everyone. But the 12 results are significant because that's full families that are now finding out they have the gene. So like in Marina's case, now we know her mom probably needs genetic testing and continued screening on different areas. So it's just really, really valuable information. I went so off script, I'm sorry. Okay, but now you got the numbers, that's what I wanted you to know. And I wanted you to know that we really are still doing this with 100% philanthropy money. Do you want to share anything else, Sharon? Oh, good. Okay, this is Sharon. Okay, no, it's okay. I want you to come. Sharon knows everything about the GREAT program. She created it. Here she is. Give her a hand, you guys.
With everyone's help. So to add to that, absolutely, I think the 12 positive results, we're talking about 12 families, right, instead of individuals. And I think one thing we also learned in the past year is we really focused initially on breast cancer, but more than half of results show that there's also genes that are associated with increased risk for colorectal cancer that are showing up. I'm getting emotional too. So I think this has also taught us that, genetic testing, of course, we've kind of traditionally thought about woman breast cancer, but really it encompasses a wide range of different cancers that could affect all families. Also note, even though we think about negative results as, oh, no big deal, great, I think these also are results that provide families with a lot of reassurance. We do have families who come to us to say, well, I'm really worried because of this family history, but knowing that they're negative, that starting at a typical age of screening really also gives them reassurance that perhaps they don't have to be as worried about their risks. So as Tara pointed out, more people enrolled than tested. We are also working to reach back out to these individuals who've enrolled but not yet have testing. So we're really hopeful that we can get more numbers and more people identified in the next few years with your support to continue stomping out cancer.
Thank you, Sharon. She's amazing. Her whole team is so great. And all of us here, I hope, will share what you've learned tonight with the people that you love. So right now is the time that if you have a paddle, you can just like wave it like you just don't care. There we go. Get them up in the air for me. Just do a little, there we go. Yay. Okay. Thank you. I want you to find them for me, please. Because this is how we fund the GREAT program. It's still 100% philanthropy money. Our goal is to have the kind of statistics that we are already having, which is greater than the national average, to prove to our healthcare system that this is how it has to be. And there's not been anybody who's done a study like this, like on genetic testing in particular. So this is really important. So I'm going to do a big reach right now, and I'm going to see if anybody has a paddle for $10,000. I don't. Oh yeah. Yes. Yes, I mentioned that. Yes, we.